Hello, everyone. It's Robert McPhee, and welcome to today's Hangout about helping fathers create great business success without jeopardizing their ability to be a fully engaged and present and contributing father. My name is Robert McPhee. I'm going to be hosting this Hangout on a weekly basis, and this week's was kind of thrown together at the last minute based on an inspiration. But it is something that we are planning on continuing to do on an ongoing basis. So we hope that you'll join us. It'll be every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And sorry, my Hangout here is doing something funky. There I am back. So for those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Robert McPhee. I am the former director of training for Jack Canfield, who most people know as the co-creator of the Chicken Soup to the Soul book series. I actually work with Jack on the training side of his business, more in alignment with his success principles work. But that was a great opportunity for me, and I've told Jack over the years that the opportunity to work with him and learn from him really impacted one area of my life more than any other, and that was that of being a parent, of being a father. Implementing his work and making it a part of my approach to being a father really has had a profound impact and difference on my life, and I believe the lives of my 3 children as well. Some people know me as the former director of training for Jack's company. I'm also a founding member of a group called the Transformational Leadership Council, which has given me the opportunity to learn from and work with some of the truly great and brilliant, some very well known, some less well known, but really amazing people in the personal and professional development industry. And again, a lot of that work in my life has been applied not only to my business, but to my life as a parent as well. And finally, also, I'm author of a book called Manifesting for Non-Gurus. And this is the book that is really the core principles that I use in the coaching that I do, in the consulting that I do, and the speaking that I do. Most of it comes from the content that's in that book. And it's a simple 5-step process that's designed to help people manifest more of the results that they want in their life, and also give them the ability to have more of the experience that they want to be having in their life. And over the past couple of weeks, there's been an interesting development in my work. I've really made a conscious decision. I've kind of been operating in a realm of trying to be all things to all people. One of the great things about working with Jack was it gave me the opportunity to learn a very broad-based skill set, but at the same time it's been a little bit of a curse in terms of really finding my niche. And it's really just recently, and it's really the impetus behind doing these Hangouts, that I've decided that the main focus of my work is going to be in the area of helping men to create really successful businesses and careers, to be able to make money and make a profound contribution, but also to do it in a way that doesn't jeopardize their ability to be a really great dad, to be really involved, to be really present, to be making a profound contribution in the lives of their children, and really impacting future generations by doing so. So these Hangouts are a way to just simply engage in a conversation about that work, to get your opinion, your insight on the value of that approach, how to get that approach out there, and what can be added to deliver that approach in the most effective possible way. So one of the great things about Hangouts is it gives us the opportunity to engage in a conversation, to share ideas, and to improve concepts and ideas and projects, and that's what I'm absolutely hoping will happen here. I'm really looking at this very much like a mission that I'm on, to help create a world where there are far more fathers who are creating that kind of business success and career success that they really want. Again, making money, making a contribution, but also really doing so in a way that allows them to really be a great dad. And I know for me that's just resonating in a really powerful way. So I want to share with you real quickly part of my motivation for doing this. I'll just put it up to the screen here. I hope you can see this. Let's see. I go right there. There's my motivation. Those are my 3 children. That is Kelly with the long curly hair is my oldest. She's 21. She just graduated from Dartmouth University in New Hampshire. Duncan is my son. He's in the middle. He's going to be a second-year student at University of California, Santa Barbara. And my youngest daughter, Lisa, who's got the long blonde hair and is wearing the red, She has one more year of high school and is currently deciding where she's going to go to college. She's currently, as we record this, in Mexico doing a community service project, working with some indigenous people learning language. So three amazing kids, and again, this has been a really hugely important part of my life and is part of what motivates me to be doing what I'm doing right now. So today my intention was, and again, this was kind of a last-minute hangout. I don't know if we're going to have anybody else who actually joins us in the live hangout, but my intention was to share just the basics of what we're going to be doing in terms of my approach to helping men be great fathers and create the business success that they want to be creating. And I'm really going to be focusing it in on three areas. And I'm going to share these three areas with you today. And at the same time, I'm really going to welcome your feedback as well. Underneath my image, you'll see my website, robertmcphee.com. I'm very easy to get a hold of through that website. And I really do encourage you, both through the comments section if you're viewing this hangout on Google+, or through just reaching out through my website and contacting me directly. Would love to hear from you about what you think the important factors are in being able to combine being a successful business person and also being a really involved and committed and present father. So we're going to look at the three different areas that I'm planning on focusing on, and then we're going to kind of plus that with one at the end. The first one we're going to look at, the first area we're going to look at, is being a role model. And as we look at these three areas, I want to encourage you to see them through both lenses that we're looking at. One is the lens of being a really great dad, but the other is also the lens of being really successful in business, because again, the intention here is to accomplish both. And when I say role model, as a father, the idea of being a role model is so very important. It's the idea of practicing what we preach, having ideas and insights and certainly visions for what we want to see in our own children, but also being willing to practice that ourselves. And that really implies in all areas of our lives, in terms of how we communicate with people, in terms of our commitment to lifelong learning, in terms of our health and well-being, how we take care of ourselves. So being a role model is really, really critical, and it's one of the areas that we're going to focus on as we work with people to balance out these two elements of being a great dad and being a success in business. And what I've seen over the years working with people in leadership positions in business is that being a role model is equally important when it comes to business as it is when it comes to being a father. And leaders and managers in a business who are willing to do the same things we're talking about in the context of being a father are the ones who seem to be the ones who are most successful, who are creating the results they want, who are doing it in a way that doesn't need to be arduous and difficult, and the ones who free themselves up to have the time and the bandwidth and the awareness, if you will, to be able to spend that quality time with their children, to be able to have the business success and the ability to be that present and contributing and powerfully influential parent at the same time. So being a role model applies on both sides. The second area that we're going to look at and spend some time talking about is being a visionary. Being a visionary. And what I mean by being a visionary is that as my children have been growing up, I found that one of the most important roles for me to play is to help them see possibility, help them see what they're capable of, help them stay focused on what they're good at, what's working well for them, as opposed to focusing on what's not working or what maybe they're not as good at, what they don't want to be doing, what they don't love, to help them stay focused on a positive vision, a vision of what they want instead of a vision of what they don't want. And in so much of my work with adults in the workplace and also on a personal level, I see that people have been conditioned for years and years and years to focus their attention on what they don't want, trying to fix things that in their mind are broken. And what we know is the more that we focus our attention on something, the more it tends to expand in our lives. And so obviously this whole strategy of being focused on what it is we don't want doesn't work. And what I have found with my children is that the ability to which I can help them stay focused on what they want, on their desired outcomes, on their dreams and visions, on what's really working for them, what they're really good at, what they love to do, all these kinds of things, and to keep them directed away from too much time and attention focused on what's not working, what they don't want to do, the fears, the doubts, the worries that have a tendency to naturally come up, is the degree to which I can really be a more powerful parent. And again, in context of business and leadership and management and creating a career success, a business success the way we want, this idea of being a visionary comes into play just as much, if not more. The effective leaders out there, the people who are able to create great success in business, again in terms of financial reward and making a powerful contribution, are the ones that have a really clear vision, a really clear mission, and they've broken that down into really clear goals and intentions and commitments. And so again, what we see with this idea of being a visionary is that it applies equally well to both sides of this equation that we're going to be spending time here looking at, with being a really great dad and also with creating a really profound, if you will, success, a really massive success in the area of business and career. So the first area is being a role model, the second area is being a visionary, and then the third area we're going to look at is being a provider. Being a provider. And again, we're putting this first in the language of what we would see with a parent, with a father, but it'll apply equally well on the business side as well. And as we look at being a role model, as we look at being a visionary, as we look at how we communicate and interact with our children, this is such a critical element, and it's no accident that I put those first. But at the same time, it's really important to recognize, and I think this is one of the real profound issues that's come up in my conversations with people about really zeroing in on this niche, is that for men, and it's true for women as well, but we're zeroing in here on the issue for men. For years and years, it's been a case of really focusing on this issue of being a provider. Now we're adding in the element of being more active, being more engaged, being more involved in the lives of our children, but that role of being a provider doesn't go away. And just as we're going to balance out being a really active and involved part of our children's lives, we're not going to let go of that role of being a provider. And one of my role models, one of my teachers, is a gentleman by the name of Jim Rohn, who actually passed away several years ago. But one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn is that more money will make us more of who we really are. And I love that in this context of looking at the role of being a provider in the context of being a father, because if we're committed to being a really great dad, if we're committed to really being there for our kids, being a good role model, being a visionary, the degree to which we're able to succeed at being a provider, bringing in a good income, is the degree to which we're going to be able to do even more of the role modeling, the visionary work, the communication, the support, the encouragement, all of that that's so important in terms of our role as being a parent. So the three areas we're really zeroing in and focusing on, and again, I'll just back up a second and say, just as with the other two areas we looked at, when we're running a business, we're looking at our career, our business success. This issue of being a provider is just as important. We look at being a role model, practicing what we preach. We look at having a vision, having goals, but also focusing on the profitability, focusing on the bottom line, doing what we do in our career as a business person, looking at things through that businessman's eyes and focusing on making it profitable. And that, again, applies just as well to a business as it does to our role as a father. So those are the three areas we're really going to zero in on and spend time talking about on these Hangouts. I'd be curious to know from you whether there's areas that you think should be added to that list. We're going to really break those down and go deep with all of them. We're kind of putting it out as if it was linear, 1, 2, 3, but the reality is we're going to go really deep. We're going to look at each one of these issues and break them down and look at all the different elements of what it means to be a good role model, what it means to be a visionary, and what it means to be a really powerful and effective provider for our families. So the final word that keeps coming up as I'm in conversation about this and kind of wraps it up to some degree and really summarizes what we mean by this combination, by this balance of being really effective in our business, creating great success there, but also being a really great father. And that's the word involvement. Involved. Because the degree to which we are really involved in our business, the degree to which we're really involved in the lives of our children, is the degree to which we're going to be getting the results that we really want. And I think in terms of the way most people look at this issue of balancing being a great dad with being a success in our business and our career, is we often look at this as if it was, hey, Mark.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I was just kind of wrapping up a little summary here. Let me wrap up, and then I'll come in and invite your impression as well. But we've just been going through 3 of the points that I'm going to be covering on this issue of being a great dad and also being a great success in our business. And what I was going to wrap up with was saying how so many people really look at this as a time management issue. And in my experience, that's kind of a lose-lose way of looking at the issue, because if we are trying to find enough time to be successful in our business and find enough time to be really great fathers, then we very likely are going to get frustrated. We are going to feel like there's not enough time to go around, and again, it's going to feel like a lose-lose battle. I am intending to focus the conversation here and the conversation that I'm going to be having with my clients that I'm working with on this issue really on quality of time versus quantity of time. And on the business side, if we really focus on our highest leverage activities, on putting our time and attention into what gets us the greatest results, and either delegating or letting go of the other activities, that will free up time to be a more effective father, to be a more involved and present father. And the same thing on the parenting side. If we look at the time that we do have with our families, that we do have with our children, and really focus on not always wanting more time, but making the very best we can, making the very most we can out of the time that we have, in my opinion, that's how we're really going to be creating more of the results and the experience that we really want. So the 3 areas we covered are being a great role model, being a visionary, and being a provider. And again, wrapping it up with those ideas of involvement and focusing on quality time versus falling into that trap of trying to create more time, trying to balance out the quantity of time. So, welcome, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, very well.
It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Oh, I'm not hearing you now.
Yeah, I say long time no see.
Oh, there you go. Good. Yeah, I was just bragging about you the other day. For people who may not know who you are, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, my name's Mark, and I live in Bali with my family. I've been here for 18 years, originally on my way to Australia and New Zealand and never made it. And yeah, just set up a life in paradise. We predominantly we market luxury villa rentals and manage them and sell them, maintain them, and supply building materials. And we're pretty busy all year round because Bali is a major holiday destination.
Mm-hmm.
I've always involved my kids in the business and made them understand why we work as hard as we've worked. We're coming to the stage in our lives now where we can take it a lot easier because we've got staff that are actually supporting what we do, although they do require a lot of adult supervision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, enjoying time with the kids. Today I was at Roger Hamilton's iLab with a couple of friends from the Mavericks, and yeah, so living the life basically.
Beautiful. Well, I love it. I'm taking it as like an omen that you're the first person to join us on this hangout because you I think missed the beginning, but I was saying this is really something that I've decided to make a major focus of my work, especially in the area of coaching, that I'm going to focus on working with men who want to be very successful in business, but also want to do it in a context of being a great dad as well and making sure that there's time for that. And based on what I know of you, you've always done that and made that a priority. And one of the things I want to see happen is at some point, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want to see events come out of this where there's opportunities for like-minded men to get together and share ideas. You and I originally met in the context of a mastermind group, and I think there's a really powerful opportunity here for like-minded and supportive and open-minded men to get together and share ideas about how we can be more effective in business, we can create more of that quality time, but also do it in a way that doesn't jeopardize our ability to be really present and really involved with our kids and really contributing to their success as well. And I'm taking it as a sign that since you're here, that first event is probably going to be in Bali. How does that sound?
That sounds superb. Come on down.
Absolutely. So, what was it when you saw my information that I sent out about this hangout? What was it for you that said, "Hey, I want to pop in and kind of see what that's all about"?
Well, it's 12:30 midnight at the moment, so it's already Saturday morning here, and I was just doing some last-minute chores before I went to bed, and then went on the computer and started checking out some videos on YouTube. And yeah, an hour went very quickly, and then I checked my email before I turned in, and I noticed that you were having a hangout. Well, I worked out the time was about now, so I clicked on it, and lo and behold, there you are.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for staying up late. This was kind of thrown together at the last minute. We didn't do a lot of promotion on it, and I really wanted to use it as an opportunity to just kind of get the message out, get the word out that this is an ongoing conversation that I'm going to be starting. My intention is that this will be a weekly hangout. There's enough people from your part of the world, we might have to change the timing of it so that it isn't in the middle of the night for you. But I really do want it to be an ongoing conversation. I want it to, first of all, I want to get feedback from people about what elements they feel like are really important, critical things that need to be addressed in order to be successful in business and really be a great dad. And I want to have the opportunity to just get that conversation out and get as many people thinking about it and really opening up to the possibility of it, because I think there's a lot of men out there who have kind of come to the conclusion that maybe it's not possible, that it is kind of a losing battle, that they have to choose between one or the other. And I see a lot of great examples out there these days of people who haven't made that choice, who have been able to succeed on both sides of this equation. And I know in my case I want more and more of that in my own life, and part of my recent decision making is that I want to help other people create that as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, the things that have done it for me is that I started the business with my wife, and I mean, probably not a good idea for most people, but I've spent the last 16 years actually building the business and working together with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sort of in each other's faces all day and most of the evening. And we do our own things. You know, I like to go off diving and climbing volcanoes and doing fitness and things like this. So I do get my own space. And she likes to go home to see her family in Java, and so we do get you know, we're pretty flexible like that. But the important thing is to never give up. Work really hard. You know, if you've got to work 8 hours a day and you spend half the day out with your kids or whatever, then you've still got to do the time and do your emails when you come back in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so many variables. But for me, that's basically it. Working hard, never give in, make time for your family. Explain to your kids sometimes why you can't spend time with them and what you do, what you're trying to achieve, and then make it up to them later. But make sure you keep your promises. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the areas that I was talking about was being a role model, and I think what you're talking about, you know, sometimes we have to say no and doing it in a responsible way, you know, looking the kids in the eye and saying, you know what, I'm not going to be at this soccer game, or I can't go out and play golf right now, or you know, whatever it is that we can't do, but let them know also what we can do, and not play that game of I can't. I see so many parents who say, I can't go to your soccer game, or I can't get out and play with you right now, or whatever it is. And the reality is we can. It's a choice. And I think one of the most powerful things we can role model for our kids, and my kids have put this back at me so many times I can't even count them, but when I do say something like I can't, they'll kind of cross their arms and roll their eyes and say, you can't? Really? You know, that's not what you taught us.
Can I tell you what I say?
Sure.
because I've sort of instilled it in them over the years. Is you can do anything when you know how to do it. So nothing's
Hmm.
and then they used to say, like, I can't do this. And I say, you can't do it, or you don't want to do it, or you don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, or I don't want to do it, or I say, okay, that's more like it. So if I turn around to my kids and say, look, I can't pick you up today. I'm gonna send one of the staff to pick you up. Is that you can't, or you don't want to? They
Exactly.
throw it back at me, especially
Yeah.
my 8. He's pretty sharp.
Yeah, but that's such a powerful lesson for them because they will hear themselves speaking that way. And when they hear themselves say, I can't, just as they're putting it back on you, they're asking themselves that question. One of the powerful exercises and activities that I learned in my work with the Campfield organization was an exercise called the can't, won't exercise, where you have people list all the things they can't do. I can't play the piano, I can't run a 4-minute mile, I can't seem to find enough time to exercise, whatever. And then you turn that around and you say the same things, but instead of can't, you say I won't. I won't learn to play the piano. I won't run a 4-minute mile. I won't find the time. And we realize that we really can take responsibility for it, that it really is a choice. And when we own it, we can just make a choice that works for us. So yeah, I think that's one of the most powerful things we can share and teach with our children. The other thing that you brought up, and you were talking about how you work with your wife, I'm really clear that in this whole conversation about being a success in business and being a great dad, there's another component, and I don't want people to think it's being left out. It's just not really part of the initial focus because it's such a variable, and that is our relationships. We have single dads out there, we have married dads out there, we have divorced dads out there, we have dads who are working with their spouse like you are, we have dads who have a spouse who works somewhere else or doesn't work, or there's so many different variables there. But one of the parts of the conversation that I'm looking forward to getting into, and I think again this idea of masterminding and working with each other and supporting each other is going to be so powerful, is the idea that these relationships that we have, I'm coming up on my 25th wedding anniversary, and that's one relationship dynamic. I had a profound conversation yesterday with a single dad. That's a different relationship dynamic. But I think it's another area of this whole conversation where we can definitely be helpful to each other, and I'm looking forward to kind of diving into that. So, Mark, you also said you ended up in Bali on your way from Australia. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from the UK.
Okay.
So
And you also said that your children have taken an active role and they work with you in your business to some degree?
no, they don't work with me. Although my older son, who's now 16, is helping. I outsource a lot of the SEO and website stuff and social media, and he's actually helping the girl in the Philippines that does the social media stuff.
Cool. Well, and I ask that because I think that's another really valuable point about sometimes we think we're trying to balance work and being a parent, and I've seen some wonderful examples of people who blend the two together, spend quality time with our children by getting them involved in what we're doing in our business, getting them to learn what it's like to be a business person. A lot of the people that I'm working with are entrepreneurs and business owners and certainly business leaders, and it's great even for younger kids to really see that firsthand and see how that works and get some kind of data and information about how to be successful in that arena. So, and I commend you for the brilliance of outsourcing social media and technology stuff to teenagers. That's where all the expertise is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Well, I feel like I should let you get to sleep.
Perfect. I'm
All
starting
right.
to work.
I'm glad you popped in. It was great to see you. And for anybody who might be watching this video, I think Mark is a great example of the type of person that we're kind of inviting into this conversation, the type of person who has that commitment to certainly business success. He's created a wonderful business in Bali, but also his relationship and his family and his role as a parent as well. So hopefully on future Hangouts we'll see more people who are able to enter into this discussion. If you are watching this video, I encourage you to join us. For now, we're going to do Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and if that changes, it'll be posted right here on the event page. But encourage you again to join into this conversation, to share in our vision of having a lot of dads out there who are really effectively able to balance the business success and their role as a parent. So Mark, it was great to see you. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to wrap it up and encourage people to join us in future weeks if they are interested. Thanks, Mark.
Take care. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.